What a performance from Malin Baryard-Jonsson. Much like in Rome in 2021, the Swede has become victorious once more in an Lgct Grand Prix, this time winning this weekend in Saint-Tropez. We are waiting for our winner's interview. We will go back into the arena in a few moments' time to hear from Malin Baryard-Jonsson, your winner today.
That was absolutely insane. What a horse Indiandarin is. You must be so proud.
I am so proud and so happy and so, yeah, what to say, she's just amazing.
With the whole H&M team and owners here, does that make it an even more emotional win?
Well, every win is emotional, but for sure, with a big group of people that you know they're behind you, you're even more happy, if possible.
And with so many in the jump-off, did that actually make you take more risks?
Well, I had to take risks because the ones before me were really fast, and I thought for a minute I didn't have a chance, but I have my very good coach. He was there when I won in Rome as well. It was Marlon Sonatelli, who really pushed me to really go and try for it, and yeah, we did it.
Already qualified for the Lgct Super Grand Prix at Prague this early on the season. Does that take the pressure off?
Well, I would like to win a few more, why not? But, you know, I'm super happy. I'm also really happy there's 3 girls already qualified for the Super Grand Prix out of 5, so that's a great number.
We didn't think that Harry's time was beatable. Where do you think you won it?
Well, I saw on the screen now that it's actually to the last fence. I was told to try to get the 7, but the turning is not perfect, but I was flying in the 8, so that's where I got him.
Well, enjoy the moment, and we can't wait to see you in Prague.
Thank you.
What a performance from Malin Baryard-Jonsson, and she is very right. The women are dominating the Lgct Super Grand Prix golden ticket holders to Prague, because already Katrin Ackermann, Sanna Thijssen, and now Malin Baryard-Jonsson making it 3 out of 5 thus far. Let's take a break. When we come back, we'll look back on this ridiculously good jump-off in Saint-Tropez. Welcome back to GCTV, and the big news coming out of this weekend's Lgct Grand Prix victory is that even though Peter de Vos did not go on to win the title, that goes to Malin Baryard-Jonsson. We do have a new championship winner. For now, though, let's go to the prize giving. Let's take a look at your top 3 riders coming out in Saint-Tropez as the sun sets over this gorgeous arena. Your top 3 performers in Malin Baryard-Jonsson on Indiana, winning herself a golden ticket to Prague and her 2nd Lgct Grand Prix title after winning in Rome last year, followed by Harry Smulders on Monaco. A great ride for the Dutchman, being beaten only by this incredible combination. And then Spencer Smith on Theodore Mancier, going on to finish in 3rd place, getting onto the podium. He too won in 2021, if you recall, winning the Lgct Grand Prix title of San Morin. So Spencer Smith looking to try and pick up where he left off in 2021 for the American. Solid performance for him as we welcome the 3 teams, or the 3 riders out, I beg your pardon, as they will now make their way onto the podium to receive their medals as we continue to make our way through this fascinating 2022 Longines Global Champions Tour season. Malin Baryard-Jonsson in 1st place, Harry Smulders in 2nd, and Spencer Smith in 3rd.
Smulders gets another podium finish for him. He himself, of course, an Lgct champion, even, with now his 19th podium finish for Harry Smulders. But Malin Baryard-Jonsson finds herself with that superstar mare once again at the highest spot of the podium. And listen to the roar of the crowds, and I'm sure that many women here in the stadium can really relate with Malin Baryard-Jonsson. The 3rd female rider to qualify for the Super Grand Prix in Prague, as we will now listen to the Swedish national anthem.
Malin Bayard-Johnson qui remporte ce 5e Grand Prix de cette saison 2022. Denis Monticolo.
It is Dennis Monticolo.
A very proud moment for Malin Bayard-Johnson, watching the Swedish flag animated behind her, and of course the proud Swedish national anthem being played as well. Let's go back for the champagne, always one of the highlights of the afternoon, as we await for the dignitaries to hand over not just the trophies and the medals, but of course Malin Bayard-Johnson will receive a beautiful Longines timepiece. Jan Tops, president and founder of the Longines Global Champions Tour, congratulating Harry Smolders, who finishes today's Grand Prix, today's jump-off, in second place, being beaten only by that wonderful pairing of Bayard-Johnson and Indiana. And still, the smile is all over the Swede's face, who now collects her Longines watch. Special moment for her, big smiles on the faces of all of the riders on the podium today. And we will look back at the highlights in just a few moments' time as we stand by and await for the champagne. The cameras are out, the videos are being prepared, and we await, but only before the dignitaries will understandably make their way off the stage and try and put as much distance between themselves and the riders. And which is so often the case, the rider in first place will receive the champagne from both ends. So we will look back at today's jump-off. We will remind you of the championship leaderboard that has seen a change. We'll also remind you that Gilles Thomas, who finished, if I'm not mistaken, in 26th place today, because of that, misses out on the opportunity to move to the top of the Longines Global Champions Tour overall standings. That title now belongs to Peter de Vos. Jumping double clear today is enough to see him go to the top of the championship table. But now it is all about Malin Bayard-Johnson, who does not even compete. She does not challenge Spencer Smith or Harry Smolders. And in fact, Harry Smolders takes her bottle and gives her some of her own. Great scenes here in Saint-Tropez, great scenes here in Ramatuelle. And a wonderful, wonderful picture as we bring to an end a beautiful Longines Global Champions Tour Grand Prix and jump-off with Malin Bayard-Johnson going on to finish on top of the podium. Let's start looking back at Peter de Vos, who made it into the jump-off and still jumped clear with Moms Tupi de la Roque. And despite going on to better Jean Sandron, who was before him, she unfortunately came home in 16. Peter de Vos stopped the clock at a time of 36.77. It gave him the provisional lead, did the Belgian. Despite that, coming out of the ring, you could see that he was disappointed with his time. You could see that he knew there was time to be made up. And whilst he perhaps was not going to hold on to the provisional lead, the staying clear, the bettering the performance of Gilles Thomas today ensured that despite a slower time of 36.77 seconds, that round was enough to officially give him the overall lead on the Longines Global Champions Tour standings. He now leads on 110 points ahead of Gilles Thomas on 101. So that round from Peter de Vos now gives him a 9-point gap on the top of the Lgct overall championship standings. Well, Abdel Said was soon to come out. After Jérôme Guéry went on to go and better the time of Peter de Vos, then it was the chance of Abdel Said, yet another Belgian. 3 Belgians back to back to back, as Abdel Said then came out on Bandit Savoie, and he too jumped clear. It was a time that saw him good enough to finish in 4th place. Big championship points for Abdel Said, but despite bettering both the time of Peter de Vos and Jérôme Guéry, stopping the clock at 35.62. Again, you just got the impression that there was time to be made up. Here, he was slightly slower, but now all of a sudden Bandit Savoie really picks up, and towards this final stretch into this rollback, coming into the final line, he made up some really, really good time. Stopped the clock at 35.62. And with that gave himself the provisional lead. but it was a lead that he would not hold on to for the rest of the jump-off. But it was a very good performance from the Belgian and a good time to make sure that he did at least take the provisional lead from his fellow Belgian compatriots. But at a time of 35.62, I think there was the impression across the board that it was not going to be enough to go on and get across the line. Who then did eventually get themselves onto the podium? Well, the third place on that podium belongs to the American Spencer Smith. If you recall, Spencer Smith winning in Chamorin last year. So he is no stranger to Lgct success. He is no stranger to pressure cooker jump-offs. The American on Theodore, your Saint-Tropez winner in 2021, really improved the time and started going a lot quicker than many before him, making sure that he then set the clock at a very even 35.35. And that time did indeed give him a provisional lead as the American and Theodore begun to set the pace. However, with solid, quality, experienced riders still to come, the likes of Harry Smulders, the likes of course, Marlon Bayard-Jonsson, we knew that perhaps 35.35 was again still not going to be quick enough. That then led to the rest of the podium. And again, a winner from last year. In fact, as we now head to Hamburg next weekend, let's recall that Harry Smulders won the Hamburg Lgct last year in rather unique fashion, with there being no jump-off. So again, Harry Smulders with his 19th podium. Sensational stat that for the Dutchman, coming out on Monaco. Again, jumping double clear, knowing that he had to go better than the time of 35.35 set by Spencer Smith. A little bit tighter here, 0.19 seconds faster than Spencer Smith. And now Monaco kicked it up into another gear. Again, running down towards this final line, onto the rollback, into the final line. And Harry Smulders and Monaco stopping the clock at 35.09, which then gave him the provisional lead. And Harry Smulders knew that there were quality riders still to come, and a time of 35.09 might not be fast enough. And now the only combination that potentially had the ability to beat the time of 35.09 set by Harry Smulders was going to be that of Marlon Bayard-Jonsson and H&M Indiana. A very big weekend for the pair, who jumped clear in the GCL and now looks for a double clear in the Lgct as well. Let's show you what took place with Marlon Bayard-Jonsson coming out as well, and absolutely cranking out the time on H&M Indiana. The irony is that in the head-to-head with Harry Smulders, there were multiple occasions where Monaco was ahead. In fact, actually running up to the very last fence, Harry Smulders was still ahead. And amazingly here, from 0.36 seconds behind, now all of a sudden Indiana opens up. Now Marlon Bayard-Jonsson really turns on the gas, jumps over this penultimate fence, takes the last rollback, and right at this moment, H&M Indiana stopping the clock at 34.71. It was a time that was faster than Harry Smulders. It was a time that was to not be beaten. And it was a time that not only ensured that the Rome winner of 2021 would win another Lgct Grand Prix title, but would also give her a golden ticket, now making it 3 women already, having qualified out of the first 5 Grand Prix to get golden tickets to Prague. Last year, we saw just 1 female rider in Prague. And now already 5 events down, we have 3 in Katrien Akkerman, Sanne Thijssen, and now Marlon Bayard-Jonsson. Let's take a look at the head-to-head between herself and Harry Smulders.
Let's have a look at the head-to-head. On the left, Marlon Bayard-Jonsson. On the right, Harry Smulders. Look at that, Smulders is actually ahead in the first spot. But then the rollback, Marlon gets level with Smulders. Again, Smulders tighter, but more pace from Indiana. How about this rollback? Again, Smulders ahead. Look at that. And much by much, actually. But then the finish of Indiana has to be spectacular. Here Smulders waits, Indiana comes, and Indiana wins. Marlon Bayard-Jonsson wins it only at the last fence.
Still virtually impossible to try and find out just how and where H&M Indiana was able to get over the line there, because multiple times she seemed to be behind Monaco. But that incredible pairing of Malin Bayer-Jonsson and H&M Indiana just seemed to dig deep and really cash in where it mattered. I believe that Malin is standing by for us and will be ready to have a conversation following what has been a sensational weekend for her. Malin, welcome to the show. I know we will talk Grand Prix in a moment, but double clear in the GCL, on the podium in the GCL, double clear in the LGCT, winner today. Can you sum up your time in Saint-Tropez for me?
It's been a great week, for sure.
Where does this lie and how does it compare to your performance in Rome last year?
Well, you know, a win is a win, and I'm so happy. I thought this was a very difficult one. I was watching the ones before me, and Harry especially. It was really fast, and I didn't really think the jump-off suited me. It was too many slick turns, and, you know, she gets a little bit strong. But I was really pushed by Marlon Sonatelli before I went in, just like I was in Rome, and, yeah, we made it this time.
Malin, we just watched the head-to-head between yourself and Harry Smulders, and there were multiple times where you and Indiana were behind, yet somehow you come out on top. Do you have any idea where you were able to win it on a track that you believe perhaps wasn't best suited to you?
Well, I think I went in and I really went for it. She was totally with me, my fantastic mare, and by the looks of the head-to-head, it's at the last fence, and you know, I was told to try to get the 7 there. I had no chance, but the 8 in the end was long, and I was also told that the finish line was really far off, so I really went as fast as I could through that.
And Malin, finally, last year you were the only female rider to make it to Prague in the Super Grand Prix. This year already, we're seeing a handful of female riders. What do you think this is doing? What message is this sending to young female riders in the show jumping world?
Girl power.
Girl power. I love it. I love it. Malin, well done. We look forward to seeing, hopefully, more victories in the LGCT this season. And we look forward to seeing you in Prague, regardless of how your season goes. Well done to you and Indiana.
Thank you.
Malin Bayer-Jonsson, girl power, girls run the world in the LGCT, that is for sure. Let's take a look at the standings now, the overall tables, to just give you an idea as to how things have changed following this weekend's Longines Global Champions Tour in Ramatuelle, Saint-Tropez. As it stands now, that is taking a look at the second page. Dennis Lynch, if you recall, already a golden ticket to Prague following Ludger Beerdebam's second victory. Christian Alman up to 12th and Niels Bruynseels in 10th place, if you recall, despite not going on to get over the line today. Niels Bruynseels and Deluxe finishing on 8, but still championship points that takes him inside the top 10. However, it is the top half of the table where things get really interesting, because there has been significant movements on the championship lead, because we knew what lay before Gilles Thomas to take the lead from Ludger Beerdebam. However, he was unable to achieve those goals, but still finds himself in second place on the overall standings on 101 points. Now just 9 behind your new championship leader, Peter de Vos, who now leads on 110. Ludger Beerdebam down to 3rd. Christian Koekkoek in 4th. And Katrien Ackerman is now finding herself in 5th place ahead of Michael Duffy. And new number 7, Malin Bayer-Jonsson, who now steps up with 88 points. Before we say goodnight, before we wrap it up, let's play the full run of Malin Bayer-Jonsson and H&M Indiana and look back at that famous victory for the Swede.
Malin Bayer-Jonsson on H&M Indiana. 4 podium finishes already for this mare, including that big win in Rome. And look at how she flies off the floor ahead of fence 2. And she's so fast in that reception. The owners are here. The team owners of Stockholm Hearts, powered by H&M, are here. The whole H&M crew is here. And Malin knows that she has to be quick, that Spencer Smith was more efficient over the fences, that Harry Smulders was more efficient over the fences. The Swedes now shouting through the stadium as Malin Bayer-Jonsson flies over 11. The shoes come flying off, and here's the finish for Jonsson. And she's ahead, she has to be ahead. She takes the lead here by 0.38, and look and listen to the Swedes. The flags in the stadium. It's Malin Bayer-Jonsson on track for her second ever LGCT Grand Prix win.
0.38 seconds faster, Malin Bayer-Jonsson, than anybody else to go on and win her second Grand Prix title after winning in Rome last year. She is on her way to Prague for the Lgct Super Grand Prix. And before we say goodnight, let's just give you a quick little taster as to what new content is coming out on GCTV next week.
Well, I have to say I'm absolutely so excited for Mike and Goldwyn. Goldie was really a special horse for me. I got him when he was a young horse and developed him. And Mike is they're a great partnership, which makes me so happy. Because, you know, when you sell horses, you don't always know that it's going to work. But I think he's going to be everything for him. And I'm really excited for the future for them.
A brand new episode of Way to the Top will be available on GCTV next week, and we take the opportunity to sit down with the veteran, with the Olympic star Laura Kraut, to find out about her career, her horses, and what is happening in and around her life for the rest of this season in particular. That is Way to the Top. That is Laura Kraut, and it's out next week on GCTV. Speaking of next week, we will say goodnight to Saint-Tropez today and say hello to Hamburg. So stay with us and join us again next week for round 6 of the Longines Global Champions Tour, as we look forward to welcoming you to Hamburg. Good night.